Yeah.
Let's talk a little Guardians because they had a hell of a weekend, guys.
So Mike sends this text when he sends his, what we're going to talk about, all his subjects here. He's like, are we buying in that the Guardians have turned it around? I mean, it's 4 freaking games. Now, they had some nice wins over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Jose coming through with the big hit on Sunday to walk that one off.
Yeah.
Logan Allen did a great job. And the Guardians had an inning yesterday when they took it from 1-5, I think it was, where it was like one of those innings they had consistently last year, where they were running the bases and getting a bunch of singles here, and it was good to see it. And it was, and these games have been against a Cardinal team that their record's not great, but they're playing much better now. And Baltimore's got the second best record in all of baseball, so it's some nice wins here. They did a good job, but still not scoring a lot of runs.
Right.
I got to see them play well over a longer stretch before I'm ready to declare them back.
Yeah, the fear was going into this holiday weekend series, if they dropped 2 or 3 to St. Louis and 2 or 3 to Baltimore, they could really be buried. That didn't happen. They took 2 or 3 from the Cardinals on a big win Sunday. That kind of felt like they
huge.
really needed that.
Yeah.
And then to come back yesterday, I saw Zach Meisel tweet yesterday was the first time since opening day the Guardians won a game by more than 3 runs. Like, just an easy day, stress-free day for the bullpen.
Yeah.
It wasn't a nail-biter.
Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible. Logan Allen was
Wild stat.
fantastic. There it is right there.
There's the tweet, yeah.
Allen was terrific and just continues to improve as one of the young pitchers. Pitching is not the problem with this team, though. We have to see them hit. And I think Will Brennan had a couple of hits yesterday, finally starting to put things together for him. But, yeah, we need to see more of it. And I know I've been saying all along, June 1st is sort of when you sort of know who you are, and that's still true, and we know who they are. They're a team that's going to struggle to score runs.
Yeah.
They're going to have to scrap for everything that they get, and they're going to have to rely on terrific pitching. And if they give up 3 or more runs in a game, they're going to have a hard time winning that day.
You got 2 guys coming back.
McKenzie
and Savali. Logan Allen he's
staying
striking.
in the rotation. Yeah.
So who's because they still got the young dudes. Bybee, you got Allen. Which guy is moved out of rotation when you get these 2 dudes back?
If they're all back, the rotation is definitely Bieber, Allen, Bybee, and McKenzie. And then the 5th spot's either Quantrill or Savali. One of those guys goes to the pen if they're healthy. I'm not sending Logan Allen down. I mean, he's pitching better than those guys.
Yeah, maybe you come up with a phantom hamstring or something to buy yourself a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Put someone on DL. I don't know that. I mean, Quantrill hasn't been great.
But
I don't know. It's a good problem to have. I don't.
Yeah.
There is no clear-cut solution right now. I think by July, a lot of this will sort itself out.
it's possible they go to a 6-man rotation for a short term.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks till, because you figure somebody else gets hurt or whatever. They could do that, but there's no way you're taking Bybee and no way you're taking Allen out of the rotation.
I wouldn't think so. Certainly not Bybee.
No
He's
chance.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah. But after the way Allen pitched yesterday, that was
hard.
his best start.
Yeah, I don't know how you turn around and tell that guy now.
No, that'd be
you're
ridiculous.
going to Columbus.
That'd be ridiculous.
Does it bother you that they're 5 games under 500, or it just seems like when teams are under 500, you naturally have this propensity to be like, you're not a real contender.
Well, they don't feel like a real contender, but the reality is there's only 2 teams that are out of it in baseball. Kansas City and Oakland. The Cubs have the worst record in the National League, and they're only like 4 games out of a playoff spot. The Guardians have the 4th worst record in the American League, and they're only, 4 or 5 games out of a playoff, 3.5 out of a playoff spot. The White Sox have the 3rd worst record in baseball, and even they're not totally out of it at 7 games. I'll say they're not. Kansas City's out of it. Oakland's obviously out of it, although they won a game yesterday. Miracles.
They beat Atlanta yesterday.
Yeah, that was a shocker. But so everybody's still in it. Even all these schleppa-dicka teams in both central divisions are horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Minnesota. Look at that. I mean, the Tigers are
2
playing
games over 500.
2 games over 5. That's crazy.
They'd be in last place in the AL East.
Yeah. We said the other day the Guardians would be, 15, 16 out if they were in the East?
Yeah.
I'd be so mad if I was Tampa, being stuck in that division with all
Baltimore's
those
got
other
the
teams.
second best record in baseball. They're in 2nd place.
It's crazy.
But Tampa just doesn't spend even Baltimore has spent big previously.
Times. Not
previously.
right now, but
not recently.
Baltimore's a heck of a story. I mean, they don't have a lot of big, sexy names on that team, but they're playing great.
And they got
They're
a terrific
really
farm
good.
system, too.
And they got good. And their best pitching prospect, Grayson Rodriguez, has been a disaster.
Yeah.
They just sent him back down.
Yeah, the Guardians, I think we know at this point what they are offensively. And even, Tito said something, I think it was after he lost to the Cardinals. He said, hey, look, if yelling worked, I would be yelling at guys all the time, like to see if it would work. But it's not. You just have to go up there, and we got to get here early, stay late, and figure it out. I think even he, at this point, is even resigned to the fact that they are who they are offensively, and that's not going to change much.
Well, the reality is that and I blame myself, and I'll blame Jason too, because we are diehard baseball guys. We should have known the lineup wouldn't be like we got caught up in last year. Like everything went perfect for the offense, and this year it's not, and we should have expected that. Again, Miles Straw's not a major league. He's not an everyday player. They're not getting everyday production out of right field. They're getting no production out of catcher. Congratulations to Cam Gallagher. Got 2 hits in a game. Big stunner there. He's not a major league player. Look at Miles Straw's awful.
Straw, listen,
He's awful.
And he had half them 10 RBIs in the first
I'm sick of hearing about his glove. His glove's great. It's fantastic. You can't play a guy every day when your lineup stinks. If Miles Straw were on Toronto, then yeah, I could play him every day because I got 8 good hitters. But the Guardians have like 4 good hitters, and some of those guys aren't even hitting. Josh Bell's been a bust. Zunino's been a bust. This patchwork, cheap guys that they signed a free agent, it's not working the last few years. And yeah, the Guardians could still end up winning the division because the division is horrible, and they could find a way with their pitching. But it's not going away here. Like Josh Naylor can't hit lefties. You'd get no production out of catcher, no production out of center, nothing out of right field. Every player on this team has an OPS under 800, except for Jose Ramirez, I believe, who's like right at 800. Most of these guys are under 700, which stinks.
That's tough.
There's no extra base production. They're not getting on base like they did last year, and the bullpen hasn't been as good. They've got to make some moves, or they're not a legit contender.
I agree, and we'll toss back right to this conversation in 1 second, but we have officially crossed the noon hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and it's a great time to remind everybody that the lunch hour of UCSS is sponsored by Call It Company's Championship. You can check them out at the famous Firestone Country Club July 12th through the 16th. Fun, family-friendly events for everyone, including live concerts every single night. You can learn more at callitgolf.com. In Hindsight Bowl, you just mentioned someone I want to ask about.
Yeah.
You said you and Jason in particular should have seen some of these offensive struggles coming.
Yeah.
In hindsight, looking
Jason
back
in there with me.
2 months ago, really.
Yeah.
What about this do you think you overlooked and or missed when looking at this roster top to bottom?
I think even though I was saying, well, all these young guys played well last year, there's probably going to be some regression, I kind of ignored it. I also ignored the fact that, yeah, Josh Bell and Mike Zunino, I thought, and Josh Bell is still better than what they had, but not much. And I thought Zunino could still really be effective. I should have known it coming off that massive injury last year that he was useless. And then, I don't think what anybody saw coming is that Jimenez has been absolutely awful.
Yeah,
He's been horrible.
Was that I don't want to go to a mirage,
I think he'll be fine in the long. And Rosario's been awful.
Yeah.
But Jimenez especially, Jason. He's been hideous.
And you was counting on his
Big
power.
time.
The people that they invested the most in have let them down. And that's, you talked about it last week. Jimenez, Josh Bell, and Zunino got the big money contracts. I mean, Zunino $6 million, but for this organization, that's a big money contract.
Yeah.
How much different does this lineup look if those 3 guys are hitting? It covers the Miles Straw. It covers the problems in right field.
Right.
Quan hasn't been terrible. He's fine. Jose's been fine. He's not off to a historic pace like he was last year, but he's certainly not the problem with this team. Rosario is terrible every April and into May. But it's those 3 guys. It's the investment that they made in Josh Bell, the long-term contract they gave Jimenez, and the 1-year kind of see what you got left deal with Zunino. Those are the 3 spots for me that have really dragged this thing down. If they're getting the production that the money should warrant, things would look a lot different, and we'd feel a lot differently about this team.
I just don't know. I don't know how much we should have expected from Mike Zunino.
Well, I mean,
coming off a massive injury, he's old.
Right, but I'm just saying, we keep talking about all the young guys, all the young guys, all the young guys. The young guys aren't what's killing them. I mean, Jimenez, half the young guys that played last year aren't even here. When we throw out that number of 17 guys making their debut, half of them aren't even here with the organization.
Nobody's really hitting. Jose's been fine,
right,
but not great.
Right.
Quan's been fine,
right,
but not great. Naylor's been okay against righties. He's been pretty good.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, nobody else is hitting at all.
Yeah, I know.
I think it hurts, specifically the Guardians, when you look at the way they try to go about getting, the middle of the road guys that are going to hit, maybe guys that are, a little undervalued that he can get for a nice solid price. Like you said, $6 million is a lot. It kind of reminds me of what they did with like Bourne and Swisher, right? They went out and got we went out and got those two dudes, and those were the big splashes. And I don't think, because the way the rest of your roster is constructed of younger players or players you're trying to develop and give an opportunity to, and you're trying to do this all on the run. You're trying to stay competitive. You want to you got to get some veterans. If you miss on just one of those dudes,
right, it
kills you.
They can't afford it because their payroll is low. And if the Guardians decide they want to be serious about trying to win, they've got to spend more money. They haven't been serious enough. I haven't been critical enough. I've criticized the payroll at times, but not enough. And it's really hurting them now because they wasted money on Bell. They wasted money on Zunino. In my opinion, they wasted money on Miles Straw. When you're relying on so many guys that have no power, that are relying on guys getting on base and stealing bases and being great base runners, if everything else is not perfect, you can't win. And right now, the bullpen's not good enough. You look at this team and you say, well, who's been better than you would have expected? The only two guys are Bybee and Allen, because we didn't have any expectation.
Didn't have any expectation for
But
them.
if I say, who's been worse than you expected, I can give you 10 guys, maybe more.
I never thought Bybee and Allen would be here as quickly as they in March.
And been really
February.
good.
We never would have thought that they'd be here.
Besides those two, all right, Bieber's been disappointing. Again, he's been okay, but he hasn't pitched like a Cy Young guy. Quantrill's been bad. Plesac, disaster. McKenzie's been hurt. So the rest of the rotation. Has anybody in the pen? Everybody in the pen's been at least a little worse than you would have thought.
Yeah.
In some cases, a lot worse than you would have thought. In the lineup, Kwan's has been okay, but I thought he'd be better. You thought I could give you everybody in the lineup without exception. I thought would be better than they've been this year, except for maybe Naylor. Naylor's probably about where I thought he'd be. Everybody else, Ramirez and Kwan, just a little below where I thought they'd be. Everybody else is
right field is a revolving door, and then Arias hasn't. I felt like they thought Arias was going to come up and grab a position and be like, okay, we just got to play him. He hasn't really grabbed the position because there's still.
He hasn't really had much of a chance until recently.
Now look.
You said the other day, Jason, that you'd move on from Rosario.
That's what I was going to
play Arias or Freeman or whoever every day. I mean, I think it's time. It's 2 months. Rosario's gone at the end of the year. Why are we playing him every day?
I mean,
now?
part of the problem.
He stinks in the field too.
And we've talked at length. We don't need to relitigate the fact that they haven't been able to make any big trades. But because of that, and because of the 40-man roster in the situation it is, you now have top prospects holding utility roles, which hardly ever happens.
Right.
And they felt in spring. I talked to Tito and Chris both about this, and they felt like they could find enough at bats for these guys to keep them sharp and keep them fresh. That hasn't happened. Certainly with Tyler Freeman, that hasn't happened. They've made it more of a point to try and get Arias in the lineup a little bit more often, but it's difficult, and it all traces back to the inability to swing a big trade and the clog that you now have.
That's a failure. That's a major failure on their part.
Because
they haven't been able to do that.
You should have. Who was the guy? Mike Freeman a couple of years ago. That should be your utility guy. Guys who don't have to play every day. You can come in and pinch run.
Right.
Be a defensive replacement late, but you're not trying to develop, and you're not. You wonder if it's stunting the development of some of these guys.
I would think absolutely it is.
Because they don't have the opportunity to play every day.
Yeah, I mean, we need to see, if you're not going to make, they put themselves in the situation where they have this glut of talent, young players. Most of them are not panning out when they've gotten their, but they're not getting a consistent opportunity. Like, they keep seeming to change their mind on who should get the opportunity right now. Freeman, and then
they're just trying to find somebody who can put the bat on the ball.
And nobody can put the bat on the ball. They need proven hitters in the lineup, and it can't always be guys at the back end that you hope to get one more year out of Josh Bell or one more year out of Mike Zunino. They got to stop doing that, and I think they have to make a significant trade here to me. But they got to make a significant trade to get a proven veteran hitter. And now it's not easy.
At what position?
But it might, what at left field, first base, DH, center field, I don't care, catcher. I mean anything.
Yeah,
really.
If you had a DH that was just just a thumper. He struck out a bunch of times, but
Yeah.
he's going to give you 35 home runs.
I don't want to see. I don't want to see any more of these trades where we're trading veterans for minor leaguers. They have enough minor freaking leaguers. Let's go get it. But it won't be easy because, who you trading for? I mean, it is tricky to be fair to them,
Right.
Because the only teams that are out of it, like Detroit, well, you're not going to go trade for Javi Baez and his bad contract.
Right.
Baseball.
The Tigers only have veterans who are not that good and young players who they're not going to trade. Kansas City, like, who are you trading for in Kansas City?
Like, baseball trades is impossible. Like, if you say we need to go get a bat and somebody says who, like, you didn't have to go through the gymnastics of being like, let me see if that person is available. What is his contract? How much money does he have? Why would they trade him and move him?
Yeah.
Like, it's just tough to, it's just
But
tough
there
to
are
do that.
guys, like, you've got to, it's not a dump trade like you'd make with Kansas City or Detroit. There are some teams out there that have two good catchers. Like, see what they want for one. Like, I'm
Tampa
sure
Bay's
they're
got a
doing these
couple.
things. What's that?
Toronto, excuse me.
Yeah,
has a
neither
couple
one's
good
having a
catchers.
particularly good season
But,
right now.
I mean, catcher, it's going to be Bo Naylor. Like, there's no point in going out and acquiring a catcher at this
Okay,
point.
then
You had
freaking
your
bring them
chance.
up then.
I agree.
I mean, come on already. What the hell are they doing here?
I think it's a matter of not wanting to admit a $6 million mistake.
That's
on
it.
a
Oh, my
payroll
God.
that
I mean, it's
can't
just
handle it.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Jason, can I ask a question? And this may be the dumbest question I've ever asked on the show, but I honestly don't know the answer. Is a $6 million mistake in the grand scheme of the Guardians' financials really that big of a deal?
It's not, and it's stupid that they would be worried
The
about
fact that it's 1 year helps. Like, I think the Bell contract could really become a problem if he doesn't
yeah.
turn it around. That's a massive.
that. He's not going to opt out.
Not at the rate he's going. Now you're on
Why
the hook
would
for
he?
another 16.5 next year.
Yeah.
But every dollar is accounted for on this payroll.
they're cheap.
And $6 million. I mean, what's their total payroll? 90?
I don't know the exact number, but
90?
it's near the
I'll
bottom
look it
of
up
the
right
league.
now. Give me 1 sec.
85, 90?
I
So-
thought it was like 75, 80.
Nah, it went up a little bit this year.
$6
but
million is, it's not, listen, it doesn't sink the franchise if they DFA him
No.
and move on, which is what I think they should do.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of it's difficult for them to have misses even of that.
Yeah, what's the
magnitude.
pay? What is it?
They have the 25th highest, or I guess sixth lowest payroll at $89.4 million.
Yeah, right around 90.
I
ridiculous.
never understood when you say designated for assignment. What does that mean?
That means you
got
have
cut.
a week. Not necessarily. When your player is designated for assignment, the team, he comes off the 26-man roster, the active 26-man roster, and then a
Comes
team
off the 40-man.
not immediately. I don't think. Does he come off the 40?
That's how you make room. Yeah, that's how you make room.
Right, you're right. He comes off the active 26 and the 40-man. You're correct. And then you have a week to either send him down to the minors potentially. If it's a veteran, you have to accept it. Cut him outright or trade him.
I think it's 10 days to trade him or
Yeah.
put him on waivers. If no one claims him, then you can you can send him to the minors, but he's available for other teams to claim at that point.
Okay.
Right.
And
Yeah, it happens with veteran players. The Cubs just did it with Eric Hosmer.
Yeah.
The Yankees just did it with Aaron Hicks. But it gives you some time to trade a guy when he's off your roster,
Right.
essentially, and get something.
it creates a
for him.
roster spot for you immediately and buys
Yeah.
you a little bit of time
Little
to figure out what
trade
to
him.
do with them.
Yeah, which is
Which is the route this is going to wind up. At some point, Mike Zunino is going to be DFA.
obviously nobody's going to claim him. Nobody's going to trade for him.
Right.
You know.
I just can't believe in the grand scheme of how much money baseball players make, and we
Yeah.
talk about Shohei Ohtani maybe getting
The Guardians
50
are cheap, Mike. There's
no,
no
I
surprise
get
here.
that. I understand they're cheap, and historically they've been cheap, but
Yeah.
like a $6 million mistake in the grand scheme of things doesn't, to me, seem like something that they'd be so
Yeah.
scared to admit they made a mistake on. It's not like the Josh Bell, I'm online with Jason 100%. He's going to opt in, and that's going to be, he's 17, 18 million next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It's
total
not
of
good.
32, 33 between the 2 years.
Yeah, that's
By the
not
way-
good. But $6 million doesn't seem like a mistake they can't.
And
they
the
can't
money's
admit.
already sunk. So what's the difference? Like, just play the young guy. I think fans would rather Bo Naylor play, and the Guardians admit they blew
sure.
Zunino. By the way, like, to me, the Cardinals and the Guardians have made a few trades with the Cardinals in recent years. They're a perfect trade partner. The Cardinals have like 5 or 6 good outfielders. They have Dylan Carlson. They have Tyler O'Neill. They have Lars Nootbaar. They have Alec Burleson. They have, what's his name? The kid that started the season, Jordan Walker, I think is his name. Kid who's a big prospect, started the season
Jordan
in the majors.
Walker.
Jordan Walker. That's
Tyler
5
O'Neill.
guys. I mentioned Tyler
Mention
O'Neill.
O'Neill.
Juan Yepes. They got tons of outfielders. They can't get enough playing time for their outfielders. I think I'm forgetting somebody too.
Maybe the Guardians can hire someone from St. Louis because they also had Adolis Garcia and Randy Rosarina and gave both of them away.
That's right.
So they're doing something right.
Can we make a trade? Like, go trade for Tyler O'Neill. The Cardinals will trade him.
Hey, McNuggets,
Let's go,
man.
Tyler O'Neill. Let's go get him.
And he's a 2-time Gold Glover, so you won't have to hear about the.
Tyler O'Neill can play
Miles
center
Straw.
field.
Yeah.
I'm
What's up,
gonna
B?
give y'all credit. Bull just named like 10 dudes. He named like 10 outfielders for like the St. Louis Cardinals. Bro, first of all, that's a National League team. Obviously, you do watch the Cubs, so that helps a little bit, right?
I'm not watching it much later.
Like,
yeah.
but the fact that, come on, that I'll give you credit, bro. That is very impressive. I wouldn't have not known if them dudes was car mechanics, or like the head
mechanic or Cardinal
or Cardinal. I would not
thank
know.
you.
That's
but like
crazy.
that's it. The Cardinals are a perfect team. They need pitching. The
Bad.
Guardians have a lot of pitching. Guardians need outfielders. Cardinals it's a perfect trade partner.
Yeah.
And you could get a guy who's proven. Now, they're not perfect players. Tyler O'Neill's not a perfect player. He's a flawed player. So's Dylan Carlson. But they're big upgrades. And what you could do, if you traded for a Tyler O'Neill, you put him in center field every day, and then you have Miles Straw platoon with Will Brennan in right field. You have Miles Straw play against lefties. And you're going to get fun. I mean, think about how good your outfield would be with Tyler O'Neill and Miles Straw, occasionally with Quan. And listen, and maybe they won't do that because they paid all this money to Straw, which was a mistake in my opinion. Whatever. You can't decide you're going to be a team with a light lineup and then go with a guy in Straw every day who can't hit. He cannot hit.